This is Coral, and you're listening to The Forward Thinker Show. Today, we're joined by Leon Kipkoech, founder and president of the FNU Tech Club, and serial hackathon winner, and participant, and judge.
And mentor.
Hey Leon.
Hey Coral.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Guys, Leon, he's amazing. We did a couple hackathons together, and like, just watching him work in real time was just a different thing, you know. But but he has such a big brain energy right here, and that's why I brought him here today, because he's just very knowledgeable in what he does. And before we get into the main topic of the day, I want the audience to get to know you a little bit better, Leon. What's your story? Where are you from? And how did you even get into the tech ecosystem here in Miami?
Oh, yeah. As Coral mentioned, my name is Leon.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of butchered my name a bit.
How did I butcher your name?
Yeah, but
it's Kipkoech.
Kipkoech.
Koech.
Yeah, it's phonetic, but yeah. Lots of people do that. That's fine.
So hypercritical, man.
Totally fine. Mm-hmm. I'm an international student from Kenya. Mm-hmm. I've been here for 3 years and maybe 2 days.
Oh, you're counting every single day?
Every single minute.
He's an algorithm.
Yeah, it's exciting being here in Miami because when I arrived here, the tech ecosystem, based on what I saw on the internet and what I knew about it, was really, really small. So it's nice to see the tech ecosystem grow. Over the amount of time I've spent here. And so when I came, I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya.
So Kenyan, is that the flag of?
Oh yeah,
Kenyan flag.
You can tell how I'm proud.
We're showing the Kenyan flag to the camera.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, Kenya is this small country in East Africa, and the tech ecosystem there is also large in Africa. So yeah. I landed here from Kenya mysteriously from an 18-hour flight. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it here. What was the other question you asked me?
How did you get into tech?
Oh.
What made you get into computer science and technology?
To be honest, that's a really, really wide, big question, and this is what I told you before. But one thing that stood out when I was younger was a movie called Meet the Robinsons.
Meet the Robinsons.
Yes. Highly recommend that movie. It's an animation. So when I watched it when I was younger, I was like, oh, wow. So someone can come from any environment and become really, really big in terms of technology. And in the movie itself, you can see this technological utopia. And that was really, really nice to see. I always wanted to build that utopia. I don't know if it's possible. We'll try to make it work and see.
So how old were you when you had this utopian dream?
10.
You were 10 years old?
8. I was 8.
So you were 8 years old and you were watching Meet the Robinsons and you were just like, yes, I want that. I want to do that.
I mean, everything is exciting as a child, right? I even had my mother print, go to her office and print how to make a rocket.
Wow.
Yeah, which was childish, but yeah.
So you used to make rockets as a kid?
I tried and failed a couple of times.
Yeah. And then from rockets in Kenya to now studying here in Miami, how did that happen?
Oh, so I did computer science in Kenya for 2 years after high school. And one thing I discovered about Kenya during that time is that the technology itself and the passion that people had was not on par with mine. I needed to find an environment where I could grow exponentially beyond my wildest imagination. And I saw US as a place to do it. And luckily, I got a scholarship to attend Florida National University and to pursue technology. And yeah, from then on, it has been smooth sailing, going to hackathons all over the country, meeting people who are as passionate in technology as I am. For example, Boston, San Francisco, Florida itself, Arizona. I've been all over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've been all over the United States.
Oh yeah, I also went to France. So
Oh,
that was another one.
what's for France for a hackathon? Yeah, I noticed that you were also when you came into the school, you also started a club. How was that like?
Oh yeah, so when I joined FNU, one thing I discovered was we did not really have a technological community for students. And I always wanted a technological community around me to learn and grow from, because I knew that there was so much I had to learn, not only in terms of leadership, but in terms of programming and in terms of also networking and everything else that goes into this technological career of ours. So I decided to build one, and with enough support, I was able to do it. Yeah,
That's good. So you were able to grow a club by yourself, not by yourself, but with the support of other people, and you've had to work in a team.
yes,
Yes, that's good. And now the topic of the day is how you can lead, like how what it takes to build software, and like what kind of team members do you need at play, because you've done over a certain amount of hackathons, that you've been all over the country, like 17 or so, something like that, 17 and counting. And you've also led a team at your school to create something. So, and you've won multiple of those hackathons, and one of the hackathons that you judged
yeah.
also won as well.
Oh yes.
That's crazy. So tell me, what does it take to win a hackathon, or like to build software as a team?
So I will start with what it takes to build software.
Yes.
Because in hackathons, building the software is one of the key factors that goes into it. Excuse me. So, to build software, and you mentioned about the team dynamic, you need to have members of the team who are passionate about what they want to do. And in terms of your expertise as a technological leader, you have to look at which elements of themselves they want to grow in. Like, I remember working with you. I worked with you on 2 hackathons, right?
Yes.
And you told me you wanted to be a project manager. Right? So all through, even though I was a team lead, I gave you the opportunity to do the project management itself. You're the one who did the technical documentation of the project. You're the one who tracked changes. And you also you basically documented everything as we proceeded to finalize the project, and did the final draft of what we were going to pitch. And also I gave you the opportunity to pitch. So most of the time you need to find a team whereby different individuals want different things. Because if everyone wants the same thing, wants to grow in the same aspect or element of their careers, then that team is not really dynamic. So yeah, that's what you need. Someone who wants to grow in the back end, for example, someone who wants to grow in the front end, someone who wants to grow in design, someone who wants to grow in project management. And then you bring all these elements together in a mix, in a perfect mix of technology, whereby everyone is able to pursue what they really, really want.
So it's like every single person so you're saying that in a hackathon, if you didn't know, explain it.
Oh, a hackathon is a competition of sorts, depending. It's a competition that you're given a limited amount of time to develop software and to pitch it to certain individuals. Then you get points based on certain metrics. For example, how feasible is a project in terms of scalability, or using it in the real world. How was the team dynamic? How is your pitch? How does your pitch fit into the track of the hackathon? And different hackathons have different tracks. And yeah, that's mostly it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said that in a team dynamics, you want to make sure that you have every person on your team has a different goal. Because a hackathon is kind of like a mini accelerator to build software. It's like you got to build something and you got to build it fast. And so whoever you're going to add on your team, you want somebody who wants to be focused on certain type of things. So could you tell me the different things that you need in a team? So you just said you want someone who does design, project management, front end, back end.
Yeah. Okay. So that depends on some factors as well.
Oh, okay.
It depends on the hackathon. So, for example, when I go to XR hackathons, which is virtual reality and augmented reality, depends on what I'm going to work on as well. If I'm working on a hardware project, I need someone who does hardware, or someone who's interested in hardware, someone who does Unity scripting or is interested in Unity scripting, a project manager, and a designer. Depending on how dependent the project is on the scripting part or the hardware part, I will add one more person to either. But you must have a project manager and you must have a designer. They can't be the same person, but you have to have that. That is actually one key fact. That's the thing that normally stands out through all hackathons.
Really?
Yeah.
That you really need a project manager. Why is that?
Because you're working on a project.
No, but like what have you noticed when there isn't someone like that who is a project manager?
I'm the one who normally steps in that.
Yeah, but have you seen in like other teams?
Yeah, I can explain why it is important. It's because if you have a limited amount of time and you yourself, hypothetically, you are a software engineer, specifically a software engineer, you'll have to focus on your particular part. You won't need to go to other software engineers and start telling them, hey, have you finished what you're doing? We don't really have time. But you need someone who will act like an accountability partner for everyone. We'll be able to track where everyone is and let them know, oh yeah, we don't have time for that feature. Otherwise, you'll get feature creep. You know what feature creep is, right?
Could you explain that?
Okay, so initially, when you're making a project, you have a scope of what you're going to make. Let's say you're going to have feature 1, 2, and 3. Right? But then when working on the project, someone says, oh yeah, it would be nice to have feature 4. And then because everyone is a software engineer and a designer, they will be like, oh yeah, let's implement feature 4. But mind you, you haven't finished even implementing feature 1, 2, 3. So you find yourself scrambling. You have half of feature 1, half of feature 2, half of feature 3, and half of feature 4. And then you begin saying, oh yeah, we should have feature 5. At the end of it, you find that the scope of the project you're working on has become too large for the amount of time you have dedicated to it. Therefore, the project will fail. So a project manager should be there to tell you, oh yeah, no, do not do that. Why? Because we do not have time for that. Once you're finished with part 1, part 2, part 3, feature 1, 2, and 3, then we can integrate feature 4. But that is nice to have. So a project manager is able to know what features are the main features, what features are nice to have, the amount of time we need to dedicate to this particular thing, and doing any other business that does not involve software engineering. Right.
So you said that there has to be nice to haves, and then the core elements of your project. Could you explain what the most basic form of the product is?
That is basically a small MVP. But then the MVP can also have feature creep. That's the interesting thing. Like, yeah, you can say our MVP does this, but you can also say our MVP does this and this and this and this, and those ands over the main feature of what your application does. That is what I consider as feature creep. Feature creep is like you can't even get to the minimum viable product, which is just the most basic form of your project, by just adding more and more features to it that you want that are not needed. I feel like there is that sense when building software. There is a lot of like quote unquote magic that comes with like, you're able to build a program. It's so exciting, but people don't understand how much work it actually takes to even build like an email authentication system. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about hackathons is when you have a definition of a hackathon in your mind, you know what it is. Yes, you can say, oh yeah, hackathon spans over 48 hours or 36 hours or whatever. Some people do not sleep, and that's actually the hackathon culture. The hackathon culture is not sleeping. Literally coding it throughout. yes, you can sleep for 1 or 2 hours. But the funny thing is, with all successful hackathons I've had, is either we've worked crazy amount of hours and we've taken minimal sleep because we decided to dedicate this weekend or this time of our month or this time of the year to dedicate to working on software, working on building something and completing it. Yeah.
What do you find in the teams that have lost? What are the things that you see most common in the hackathon teams that have lost the hackathons?
One is the
feature creep. Yeah.
Yes, feature creep, and even there's feature creep. Yes, but feature creep comes after the MVP. For others, is the scope of the solution they have or the project they have goes far and beyond what they can make, they can make, and the technological expertise. So another thing is you're also supposed to stick within your technological expertise. Like, yes, you're supposed to learn something new, but you can't learn Python in a weekend if you don't know the fundamentals of programming, right? You can learn the syntax, right? But there are things you'll be stuck in tutorial hell. You can't spend 12 hours watching a video on a tutorial during a hackathon. It doesn't work that way.
You've seen people do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I've seen people watch 6-hour tutorials on how to do something. So yeah, it's pretty common.
Oh my gosh!
And another thing is minimizing the amount of time you dedicate to the project. So I've seen people who have the 48 hours, but they decide to only dedicate 12 hours or 10 hours to what they're making. You don't see that passion in them, because that also reflects how passionate you are about building that thing.
So you said that passion is really important. What else is important?
The technological expertise and there's passion, but there's also passion is liking something, right? It's, yes, I like to do this, but with passion you also have to have the curiosity mindset and the can-do attitude. It's like, yes, I can do this. Even if I can't, I will try my best and I will do it. Right? Yeah, like for example, the hackathon at UCF, the one I went to last year. I only did one project in hardware. I literally started learning hardware during the summer, and this hackathon was in October. And yeah, we managed to finish the software.
Wow.
The hardware and the software. Yeah, and they really enjoyed it. So there's also, if you have the can-do attitude and you ask lots of questions, important questions, then you can manage to piece this software together in that amount of time you dedicate to it.
So what would you say is so you say what would you say is more important then? To have more, people expertise or technological expertise when it comes to winning a hackathon?
You'll have to find a balance between the two. I can't say anything is more important than the other. But again, it depends on the complexity of what you're making. If you're making a simple extension for the web, that's really easy. You don't really need someone who's a specialist in making extensions. You just need someone who knows JavaScript and knows how to program, right? And others can be, you can just look at the documentation online and figure out how to piece different things together. But the passion is what has to be there. And the good thing about hackathons is most people who go there, most, not all, most are passionate about what they're doing there, and that's the good thing about the hacking community. Yeah.
Okay, so you just explained the three things that are really important, which are like technical expertise, passion, and having a balance with those two, and also having a core team of a project manager is really important, and having a designer is really important.
Yeah, but the designer also depends on
it really does depend.
Yeah.
I know you've also worked at startups before.
Yes.
Did the experiences that you've had in hackathons help you in the startup culture?
Yes. I can say yes, but also there's a disparity as well between hackathons and the startup community. Normally, if you work at a startup, you need to make software which is stable and can be used in future, like can be maintained easily, right? So you use libraries which are available, because that minimizes the time you use to make these things, and stability. For hackathons, you just piece together anything.
You just scrap it.
Yeah, that's what the hackathon is, right? So
Yeah.
that's the difference between the two. But again, there's a possibility of meeting the time frame in a startup while using the skills you got from a hackathon, like that, piecing things together. You can actually piece things together, make efficient things, and make them maintainable in a startup.
Wow. Everything that you've learned from the other hackathons have like come together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in every hackathon I learn something new. I learn team dynamics. Like there's a hackathon I had in Arizona whereby we were making software for non-profits. But because we were working under a non-profit, is you make the software, and then for an extended period of time, when you're still in your academic institution, you dedicate around 20 hours a week to continue working on the software. And accidentally, I've made the team lead.
Again.
so weird, so mysterious.
Yeah.
So when I was the team lead, there were some things I didn't know how to do, and this wasn't the hardware bit, because I saw that, oh yeah, my teammates are not contributing. I literally wrote 1,000 lines of code, right? But then this is the interesting thing, right?
What?
The supervisor, the manager who's supposed to manage our project, is like, why are you the only person who contributed to the project? I'm like, yeah, the other team members don't want to get into meetings, they don't want to contribute. And then he's like, no. As a team lead, that is not how you're supposed to do things. And then I started learning from him. He was a manager at Meta. So he taught me some things about team dynamics. Even as a leader, you're not supposed to have, what do we call it? Bystander,
The bystander effect?
Yes.
Oh.
And this is interesting, right?
Oh,
like,
okay.
Even as a technological leader or a technological director, you can have bystander effect. The bystander effect. You'll be like, oh yeah, I won't schedule meetings, or I'll schedule meetings, but if you enter into the meeting and you see no one is joining in the first minute, you get out. Or you don't remind people that there's a meeting coming up. So you're supposed to dedicate lots of time in actually bringing people together and putting the effort of bringing people together and making them work on this thing and become passionate about the project as you are. So that was the interesting thing I learned during that time. And from then on, I managed to work on other projects, right? But this time, I made everyone work in the project. I will contribute very little, or not too little, but contribute a small amount, but I will make sure everyone has something to do, because someone will come to me, what do I do? I think of something, I'm like, yeah, you do this, you do this. And then I also started a small culture with my hackathons, whereby I do an interview of how the hackathon went. We introduced the project. I introduced everyone. I asked them what did they do, what they're passionate about, what do they see in the future. So yeah, I only have 2 videos, but I'm making more.
You're making videos?
Yeah, making videos.
Oh,
you didn't know?
I did not know this. But we'll talk about that later. But you make every time you go to a hackathon, so you interview people.
The team members.
Yeah, so you get to know them first, and ask them about like what they're passionate about, so that they can work together. So that's a lot of people skills. Is there any other team dynamic skills that you learned from that, Meta employee that helped you?
The manager.
The manager, yeah.
He taught me some things about leadership, which are apart from not having the bystander effect and being ready and willing to learn from people and to teach them. There's empathy. Empathy. That's really important. Wow. Understanding your team members or the people who you work with. That's also really, really important, especially if someone says, oh yeah, I can't do this software because I don't feel nice, or I don't feel good, I don't feel da-da-da-da. You have a discussion with them, like, oh yeah, I know you don't feel nice, it's okay, I will cover this amount, but what little can you do? Instead of letting them step out completely, you just ask them specifically, what can you do, as little as they can, so that you can cover the rest with the other team members or even yourself as a technological leader. And humility. That's another one. Because even as a leader, being humble and extended XR, VR, AR. He wrote a good book. But so working in that lab, I worked with a master's student, and I was helping him research on situational awareness using haptics. The paper is still ongoing, right? But because of all these papers I read, I discovered there was a research gap. So I decided to test whether I'm able to actually write a research paper. And I just submitted my research proposal. It was accepted. But before it was accepted, I received
from others and being humble, because it's like being in the tech world nowadays is kind of, it's like a status symbol almost. And like people think like, oh my god, you studied computer science with all this AI stuff, wow, look at all this stuff and you know all these things. But then you gotta come back down, back down to earth, because you're working with humans, you're not working with robots.
Oh yeah. There was this funny thing I read online that should you call yourself a software developer or a software engineer? Most people say software engineer because it sounds cool and it sounds engineer. Wow, amazing. But if you say software developer, they're like, man. Yeah, so there's also that kind of the status symbol of being a software engineer. It's quite interesting.
But at the end of the day, if the goal is to build good software and software that works fast, that can work with a certain amount of storage and be able to be used in different use cases by different users from all over the world, or from whatever your scope of the project is, you have to be, like you said, be able to be passionate, be able to have that technical expertise, be able to give and receive feedback. This just like regular things that you need in like any hackathon project. Even
yes, you can build good software
and still have a big ego.
And I think so. To some extent, but it's not really about ego. It's about showing people what you have done. Like, hey, I did this and this and this and this. And when people see that, they'll give you more opportunities. I mean, that's what people do in the network, right? They talk about the things they've done, you talk about the things you've done, and then you're able to see, can I connect you with someone who does similar things? Can I give you more opportunities? Can you give me more opportunities? It's all about gaining from each other. Even in networking. Right.
It's good because you notice that when you have a business, in a software business, people want to buy stuff from people, not from the business. Like if you look at the numbers of like founders of big tech companies and like the tech company of itself, like the numbers they have in Instagram, the amount of followers, most people follow the founders than the actual company names themselves. Like for example, like Elon Musk, more people follow Elon Musk than the page of Tesla, because people don't connect with corporations, they connect with people. So even when you are like pitching software, building software, there's gonna be people at every step of the way. So that's why you need it.
Oh yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that, but that's an
It's
interesting
a
perspective.
thing. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We need more ethical engineers in this world.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
More humble.
We don't want people who will destroy the world by mistake.
Yeah, by mistake.
By mistake, of
course. Wow, Leon, this was such an insightful conversation. Thank you so much. We really learned today a lot about, leading a team in a hackathon, whether you want to work for a software company or want to build your own software. There's a lot you can learn from those moments, and winning a bunch of hackathons probably has helped you. It has helped you so much. So thank you so much for sharing your story and expertise today. Now I'm going to give you a chance for people to have a way to reach out to you, pick your brain. How can people reach out to you and anything that you want to promote?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Leon Kipkoech.
Kipkoech, by the way.
Yeah, Leon Kipkoech. That's LeonKipkoech. And also you can follow the FNU Tech Club on Instagram. You'll see all the cool stuff in the hackathons I go to with my club. It's at FNU Tech on Instagram.
Florida National University. Yes.
Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
This was inspirational. I learned a lot.
Thanks for listening to the Forward Thinker Show podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.